everybody knows how to develop a quarterback. You're assuming that you're going into a program. I mean, I'm telling you, this is not, there's a lot of people who have no idea what they're doing when they're tasked with coaching a quarterback or calling an offense. So are you saying, I mean, just like we'd rank quarterbacks 1 to 32, do you rank offensive coordinators 1 to 32? Do you rank quarterback coaches 1 to 32? Well, what if you had the 32nd ranked coordinator in someone's mind, or the 32nd ranked quarterback coach? How is he getting a level of development that the guy who's first is getting?
The NFL timeline froze like someone hit pause because Tom Brady just went full-blown detective and called out Cleveland for sabotaging Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, you heard that right. Brady, the same man who handles footballs like they're priceless art, just dropped a truth bomb so loud it's echoing across the league. Fans are now wondering if the Browns are actually running a football team or some top-secret spy operation gone wrong. Grab your snacks, because when Tom Brady starts calling out sabotage, you know chaos is about to hit the fan. Something crazy is cooking in Cleveland. And for once, it's not just another bad play or quarterback meltdown. This one's got the NFL gossiping like it's high school drama on steroids. Tom Brady, the monk of football perfection, just stepped out of his Zen bubble to become the league's unofficial truth sheriff. He's shining that laser focus right on Cleveland, a team that somehow manages to trend even when it's trying to stay invisible. And this time, it's not about losing seasons, messy rebuilds, or another quarterback shuffle. Nope.
The local Cleveland media keep going relentless on Shedeur Sanders. He entitled, distracted, developing slow, can't learn the playbook, not getting practice reps with the scout team, not getting practice reps at all. But what if I told you? Then don't none of that got to do nothing with football. This goes deeper than people realize. If y'all ain't seen the Tom Brady came out on Colin Cowherd, now this is pertaining to the Browns saying they developing quarterbacks.
This one's pure scandal. Brady straight up accused the Browns of sabotaging Shedeur Sanders. The league practically choked on its Gatorade hearing that. You'd think Brady would be off somewhere sipping green juice, meditating on his yacht, and pretending to enjoy retirement. But no, the man saw the madness from miles away, and what he spotted in Cleveland wasn't just sloppy management, it was straight up foul play. Something shady's going down, and Brady just lit the match. What was happening in Cleveland wasn't football. It was a full-blown organizational circus pretending to be a professional program. According to Tom Brady, the NFL's got this wild double standard going on. Players get judged like they're on some reality show.
I sat behind Drew, who was a franchise quarterback, right? In my second year, it's training camp, and we had a very good quarterback coach named Dick Rabine, and God rest his soul. Unfortunately, he passed away in training camp and of a heart attack. And it was a very difficult loss for our team. And the way that we found a way to continue on that season is Bill Belichick became more of a quarterback coach than we ever imagined him being a quarterback coach. He was obviously a head coach, very involved in defensive game planning.
Every throw, every blink, every mistake analyzed like it's national security. But the coaches, oh no, they get treated like sacred geniuses who can't be questioned. Brady called it out loud and clear. He said what everyone else has been whispering under their breath. Some of these so-called masterminds wouldn't recognize player development if it hit them across the face with a laminated playbook. That's where Shedeur Sanders comes in. The kid who's been picked apart more than a high school science experiment while his coaching staff skates by untouched. Cleveland somehow managed to turn what should have been Shedeur's dream transition into the NFL into a complete setup. Instead of guiding him, they've made it look like a trap. Imagine stepping into a brand new system where your coaches treat development like some old urban legend.
So, it's either the Browns are actually developing Shedeur, which I told y'all before too. They actions say otherwise. But Tom Brady gonna break it down in how he got developed early on in his career, eventually lead him to 7 Super Bowls. So if quarterbacks not getting developed, anything similar to this.
and then have the nerve to question your readiness. It's like being told to bake a cake with no ingredients and then getting yelled at for not serving dessert. That's Shedeur's reality right now. Unfair, chaotic, and straight up disrespectful. And Brady, he wasn't going to sit back and let that slide. He saw through the nonsense instantly. Cleveland's coaching staff has been strutting around like their hands are clean, but Brady made sure everyone knows they're the ones with icing on their face. They evaluate, they grade, they critique. But when someone asks, so who actually worked hands-on with Shedeur? Silence, crickets, not a single coach stepping up to say they truly invested in the kid. It's wild. Apparently, Cleveland's version of player development is handing you a helmet, tossing you a good luck, and praying for the best. Then when things blow up, they just shrug like, see? Told you he wasn't ready? Unreal. Brady saw right through that lazy routine.
Let's give him a chance. Let's give him a chance with the play calling. You know you have an offensive line that isn't playing that well. So what do? Why not just play the short game so he can get the ball out of his hands very fast to run a competent goddamn offense? Outside of that, Shedeur has to be better in understanding that the offensive line that you're working with right now is not adequate. Why not allow the players that are competing for a job, in this instance, Shedeur Sanders, to finish off the 2-minute drill?
The man's a walking football encyclopedia. He knows real talent when he sees it, and he sure as hell knows when an environment's toxic. This is the same guy who turned random, overlooked receivers into legends. So when he says a coaching staff's asleep at the wheel, you better believe it. Cleveland's issue isn't that Shedeur isn't ready. It's that they never even tried to make him ready. And that's where things turn straight up awkward. Because when Tom Brady speaks, the league listens, especially the people he just roasted alive. The Browns tried to clean up the mess with the usual PR nonsense. All that talk about competition, evaluation, and development. Please, those words sound empty when your so-called development plan looks more like organized neglect. The way Brady exposed them, the silence from Cleveland said it all. A guilty as charged. It's wild, isn't it? Coaches love preaching accountability until it's their turn to be held accountable. Suddenly the word disappears from their vocabulary. Brady didn't just hint at it. He compared NFL coaching culture to a broken corporate office.
But I'm going to answer this question by saying Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to tell you why. I think he's being set up to fail. That's right, I'm going to say it. Okay. Here we are on national television, right? There's been 11 practices, if I remember correctly. He's been starting against he's been playing against the third unit. He's fourth on the depth chart. And then suddenly you throw him into the start lineup, and he hasn't had any reps with the first team at all. Think about that. So you just gonna throw him to the wolves like that, huh? I mean, you know, if he had first team snaps in practice, I don't say that.
Where the interns get fired for typos, while the managers get promoted for causing chaos. And guess who's paying the price for that circus? Shedeur Sanders, the latest casualty of Cleveland's never-ending dysfunction. Everyone in the league knows the truth. Cleveland's coaching system has been a joke for years. One guy claims they're developing a quarterback, another insists they're still evaluating, and someone else probably can't even remember Shedeur's name. Every meeting sounds like a new episode of Confusion, and none of them involve actually improving the player. It's like they're running a guessing game instead of a football team. Brady's words hit harder than a helmet-to-helmet collision because everyone watching knew he was right. And just when you thought this story couldn't get any messier, in comes Stephen A. Smith, the man who turns outrage into an Olympic sport. The moment Brady's comments dropped, Stephen A. didn't just agree, he erupted. He's been warning people for months that Shedeur's whole situation smelled like sabotage. This ain't opportunity, he said, that's entrapment. And he wasn't exaggerating. It's like tossing someone the car keys in the middle of a tornado and yelling, "Go prove yourself."
I always had this theory that quarterbacking should be easier now. You have personal coaching, 7-on-7 camps. I mean, guys like you and Drew Bledsoe and Troy Aikman have told me, like, I literally had 8 high school games a year. You're like, I had 40 starts, including high school. Well, guys now have 10,000 snaps by the time they're 14 years old. So I've always said, as a sports commentator, I used to give guys 3 years. My argument now is Thanksgiving year 2, the GM, the coach, the coordinator need to go upstairs in a room privately, raise their hands, yes or no. And I don't care where you...
How is a quarterback supposed to build rhythm, timing, or leadership when he's practicing with guys who are barely fighting to keep their own roster spots? It's insanity. And now, the whole world's watching Cleveland's chaos unfold in real time. And just when this saga couldn't get any hotter, boom! Louis Riddick jumped into the mix. And if you know Riddick, you know when he steps in, the room gets tense fast. The man doesn't do sugarcoating. He does truth, straight, no chaser. He said Shedeur's got the talent, the raw potential, the tools, but the Browns, he tore their so-called development plan to shreds. According to Riddick, there were no reps, no structure, no intent. Basically, the entire setup was smoke and mirrors. He didn't just critique, he exposed it. This wasn't development, he said. It was delay, plain and simple. And fans across the league nodded because he said what everyone was already thinking, but nobody inside Cleveland had the guts to admit. Riddick didn't stop there. He pointed out how other rookie quarterbacks were getting consistent coaching, proper systems, and the patience to grow, while Shedeur was out here trying to figure things out alone in a playbook that felt like a Rubik's Cube. How's a man supposed to perform when he's the only one who doesn't even know the full rhythm of the offense? Every single snap turns into a make or break audition. Pressure without support, all eyes on him, and no one in his corner.
That call, he makes that call. Why? Because I want the last thing people to see is the mistakes and the sacks that happen and not give him a chance to redeem himself. Because I think probably what would have happened, okay, we can't have Shedeur come in here and finish this 2-minute drive and go down and get a touchdown. We don't want that. And in chat, for those of you who are listening and watching, I'm not making any excuses for him. He played bad. But I can tell you why he played bad. I mean, if you know the game of football and understand the game of football, understand that those that are in there with him during that time, I'm not going to be on the team.
Then came the silence, that heavy, telling silence. Because if no one in leadership actually vouched for him, that means Shedeur's basically been abandoned inside the organization. No mentor, no advocate, no accountability. Just a young quarterback fighting a losing battle in a system that already wrote him off. And then came the cherry on top, the twist that turned this entire disaster into pure football soap opera drama. Things went from bad to cinematic in seconds, and everyone watching knew this was about to explode. Then came the twist that left the whole league stunned. Jimmy Haslam, the Browns owner himself, casually dropped a bombshell. He admitted he had no clue about Shedeur Sanders even signing. None. Zero. He said he left the entire decision to the coaching staff. Like what? How does an NFL owner not know about the signing of his own quarterback? That's not leadership. That's negligence wearing a designer suit. Suddenly, all of Tom Brady's comments made perfect sense. How can a player possibly thrive when the people at the top don't even know who's running their own team? Haslam's confession sounded like someone saying, "Oh, we adopted a kid?"
Why is the third quarterback getting interviewed? You got nothing to do with the game. Okay, it's all for media clicks. And, he's a heck of a personality, but the personality can't come out until you do something on the field. And, it's a big week for Dylan Gabriel and a big week for the Browns. I mean, making that transition for him even be available to the press. I don't know why he's doing it.
You tell me, you know how that works. Is that the front office? Is that the comms team? Like, who's putting him out? So we're saying it's not really on him. We have to protect him. He's a young player.
Yep.
Why are we making him available?
Exactly. To me, I mean, there's no sense to have him available.
Jimmy Haslam, the Browns owner, casually admitted he had no...
Cool. Hope he's doing fine. That's not how you build a football franchise. That's how you build a dumpster fire dressed up as management. And just when you thought Stephen A. Smith couldn't get any louder, boom, he erupted like a storm. He didn't just react, he went off. He said exactly what everyone else was too polite to say. Haslam's "I didn't know" wasn't an accident. It was strategy. The oldest trick in the book: distance yourself from accountability while pretending you care. That's not cluelessness, that's calculated. And just like that, another young quarterback's story gets rewritten before it even begins. Brady's outburst now looks less like a rant and more like a revelation. The man saw the truth before anyone else did. He wasn't just defending Shedeur Sanders. He was standing up for every young quarterback who's been tossed into chaos by clueless systems that chew up talent and spit out potential. The league is crawling with coaches recycling the same tired excuses, pretending they're evaluating talent while never actually putting that talent in a position to win. And now Shedeur Sanders has become the poster child for how broken that formula really is. The irony? Tom Brady once lived that same story. Drafted low, overlooked, underestimated, barely getting any reps. The difference? Brady had Bill Belichick, a coach who, for all his weird quirks and death stares, actually believed in developing his players. If Brady hadn't been given that chance, we might have never witnessed the rise of the GOAT.
She get thrown in there with the Wolves, because the real Wolves come during the season. Pittsburgh is coming. Baltimore is coming. The real Wolves is coming. Now, I am praying to God that Shedeur gets an opportunity to show what he can really do. And I think that would be probably the best thing for him. But knowing the Cleveland Browns, they dumbass gonna trade him.
That's why his words hit like a punch to the gut, because he's living proof that development changes everything. He knows the look of a system that's robbing a player of growth, and Cleveland's doing it in broad daylight. He called out this toxic culture where players get blamed for every mistake, while coaches hide behind buzzwords like evaluation and process. Brady exposed the absurdity of letting underqualified coaches decide who deserves a shot, turning the whole NFL into one big ego contest with headsets. And here's the kicker. Cleveland's coaches actually thought they could sideline Shedeur quietly, like nobody would notice, as if the football world isn't dissecting every snap, every decision, every sideline whisper. Please, you can't hide dysfunction in 4K when the cameras are rolling and legends like Brady are watching with receipts in hand. Every depth chart shuffle, every sideline move, every strategic adjustment Cleveland made suddenly looks suspicious. Because the second Brady spoke up, their so-called management started looking more like a full-on cover-up. It's almost poetic, really. Brady, the man who built his career on discipline and structure, is now calling out the very system that refuses to build any. He's like that retired professor who walks back into class and realizes they're still teaching the same outdated nonsense he fought to change decades ago.
I've heard ex-players talk about Shedeur. I've heard ex-NFL coaches. I've heard media members, meaning like beat reporters. I've heard fans talk about Shedeur. And it's funny, I was on with my buddy Bill Ryder today, and I declared myself as Switzerland. And he's like, well, it sounds like you're more like maybe, I can't remember what he said, but basically that I'm more positive about Shedeur than not. And I was like, well, I think some of my positivity is I look at the kid and I go, skill set wise, I think he has what it takes to be anywhere from the 13th best starting quarterback in the NFL.
Except this isn't a classroom. The stakes here are millions of dollars and one young quarterback's career hanging in the balance. And let's get this straight. Shedeur Sanders isn't just some guy. He's got pedigree, raw talent, and a swagger built for prime time. He's not playing the game, he is the game. Yet somehow, the Browns coaching staff might actually walk away from this untouched. They'll hit those press conferences, throw out words like adjustments and learning curve, and act like they're fixing something when they're really just spinning their wheels. Meanwhile, Shedeur's left trying to rebuild his confidence while the same coaches keep cashing checks and dodging accountability. It's embarrassing. Brady's message sliced through the PR noise like a laser. If you're gonna judge players like pros, then hold coaches to the same standard. Don't praise them just for showing up in team colors. Judge them by results. Judge them by how well they prepare their players. Because at the end of the day, a quarterback's greatness doesn't just come from skill, it comes from the environment that either builds him up or breaks him down. And right now, Cleveland's doing the latter, and everyone sees it.
And that's what you ask for. You know, that's what you ask for within the game. If I could go back and do anything, I mean, it's always everything in life if you had that chance, but we don't have the luxury to travel back in time. As a kid, I want to go back and do things differently. So overall, of course, you know, you wish you can, but in the battle of the moment, in the heat of the battle, you know, you want to be that alpha, you want to be that dog, you want to be out there in that final 2-minute drive. So, you know, of course, small things, of course, frustrate, but that's what happens, you know, when you want a player to be able to change.
The ripple effect from Tom Brady's bombshell is already shaking the league. Analysts, fans, even retired players are stepping up and calling out the hypocrisy loud and clear. How is it that players can lose their jobs after one bad game, but coaches can wreck multiple careers and somehow end up with contract extensions? It's insane. The imbalance has been there for years, but Brady just threw a blinding spotlight on it, and now nobody can look away. When Tom Brady speaks, it's not gossip, it's gospel, and a warning shot rolled into one. He's saying what players have been whispering behind closed doors for years. Coaching is the NFL's biggest unmeasured variable. You can have all the arm strength, speed, and vision in the world, but if your staff doesn't believe in you, you're done before the first snap even hits your hands. And honestly, if Brady hadn't said something, this whole mess would have been swept under the rug before the offseason even ended. But now, Cleveland's under a microscope the size of the sun. Every move they make with Shedeur, every rep, every quote, every sideline glance is going to be dissected like courtroom evidence. Because when the GOAT calls you out, you don't just shrug it off. You better start explaining yourself. And the irony in all this? It's poetic. This whole situation exposes how the league still hasn't figured out how to protect its own future. It's a system where politics beat progress and loyalty crushes logic. Maybe it's time the NFL stops pretending it's all about competition, because deep down, everyone knows. Sometimes the real game isn't played on the field at all. The fallout didn't stop there, it exploded. By the next morning, every sports show, podcast, and Twitter thread was dissecting Brady's words like they were scripture.
Now, he's got to put in the work. He's got to adapt to the NFL. He's got to adapt to not being coached by his dad. But physically, when we talk about physical talent, the concerns I have about Dillon Gabriel aren't there with Shedeur. Now, I would not have taken him with a number 2 pick under any circumstances. I might have thought about it at 33 or 35. I definitely would have thought about it at 92 over Dillon Gabriel. But the truth is, like, I don't feel beholden to either of these quarterbacks. Like, we should treat them like scratch-off lottery tickets until proven otherwise. But I'm watching the discourse fall out with Shedeur Sanders. And the latest one's pantomiming, but certainly the one before this was him saying that he feels like he could do better than a lot of the starting quarterback stuff you see around the NFL, and that he's confident he'll be ready to go when his numbers.
Some called him brave for breaking the silence. Others accused him of stirring chaos. But everyone agreed on one thing. He'd exposed something real. The league suddenly looked uncomfortable, like someone had turned the lights on in a messy room they'd been ignoring for years. Inside Cleveland, you could practically feel the tension through the walls. Reports said meetings got heated, coaches defending themselves, execs scrambling for talking points, PR teams typing statements faster than players run drills. And in the middle of it all sat Shedeur Sanders, calm but clearly frustrated, the young quarterback everyone's talking about but nobody's actually helping. The cameras might have shown him smiling, but behind that look was a storm. Brady's message wasn't just about one player, it was about an entire culture that values control over growth. He was saying, you can't keep breaking talent and calling it development. And the truth hit harder than any tackle, because this isn't just Cleveland's issue anymore. It's a league-wide wake-up call. Now everyone's waiting to see what happens next. Will Cleveland finally step up and fix the mess, or will they double down and let another career crumble under evaluation? Whatever comes next, one thing's certain. Brady lit a fire that can't be put out, and the whole NFL's feeling the heat. It's played behind closed doors, where careers get decided long before the first whistle even blows. That's the real game, the one nobody sees, the one that decides who rises and who gets buried before they ever touch the field. And until that game changes, Tom Brady's words are going to echo through every locker room in the league like a warning siren. Because if coaches can't build their players, then maybe, just maybe, it's time we start rebuilding the coaches instead. So what do you think? Did Brady just spark the biggest conversation the NFL's been avoiding for years? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear the truth. I'll catch you in the next one. This story is far from over.